priority plan, journeying towards 2027, and what your vision is for Ageas. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, 2023 marked the first year of the implementation of the Early Warnings for All initiative, and the need for this initiative is greater than ever. We experienced new temperature records being smashed again. We witnessed ever-great devastating fires, immense flooding, and extreme events again and again. And we must never forget that behind all of these events are unspeakable tragedies of real lives lost, real livelihoods destroyed, people pushed into poverty, children out of schools, and communities devastated. We are literally playing with fire every day, and the countries that have contributed least to the climate crisis are bearing the brunt. To meet these challenges, this Early Warnings for All initiative is well underway on mobilization and coordination. Mobilization of partners, expertise and resources, and coordination among existing initiatives to ensure that we have a unity of effort. This was a critical first step of the implementation to ensure that we assemble the right partners and to have the countries ready, prepared to receive the support and act on the support that this initiative will provide. And I can assure you that ownership of the countries is at the core of this implementation. Consequently, we have established an advisory panel with wide representation, including both the private sector and the civil society. The panel will guide our efforts on delivery of support. And I'm pleased to announce that the advisory panel's first annual report was submitted to the UN Secretary General this week. And please allow me to share 5 highlights of the progress to date. First, we started implementation in 30 targeted countries, and in 13 of them, multi-stakeholder national consultations have been held to establish a roadmap towards an effective, inclusive, multi-hazard early warning systems. Second, we have developed tools, products and plans across the 4 pillars of the initiative to scale up technical support. Third, major finance mechanisms, including multilateral development banks, the Green Climate Fund, the Climate Risk and Early Warning Systems Initiative, and the Systematic Observations Financing Facility, they have all committed to enhance financial support together with the bilateral donors that have been mentioned by Professor Tallis. Fourth, regional level coordination has been enhanced, especially in the most at-risk vulnerable regions, including Africa and the Pacific. Fifth, we have established a robust monitoring and evaluation framework to hold us accountable on progress. To that end, today we are launching a joint UNDRR-WMO report on the global status of multi-hazard early warning systems 2023, which says that still only half of the countries of this world are covered with effective early warning systems. And we are also launching today an online dashboard to track the progress of the initiative. Now we need to accelerate implementation with more countries benefiting with a surge of funding. Excellencies, to deliver on climate justice, we must provide early warning systems that are fit for the climate fragile future we face. This means paying attention, special attention to the most fragile and hardest hit countries and communities, and hardest to reach. We must close the last mile of early warning and early action everywhere. And to do that, we need partners. We need partnership and solidarity. We need countries to deliver on their commitments and to deliver increased funding for climate adaptation and disaster risk reduction, because achieving the early warnings for all initiative will not only reduce economic losses and protect development gains, but most importantly, save lives. Thank you.
There you have it. The dashboard goes live today. Please look out for it and support the hardest to reach. Recently, I visited Samoa and I was really shocked how far it is. This next speaker, the Secretary General of the United Nations, we sat sat together on the 11th of December 2019 on that podium where we waited for Luca Pagnotano, the astronaut, to join the screen. I was the moderator. He joined from space. And I was imagining, what does he feel when he sees two eyes of storms brewing from above Earth, the place he calls home? And as you sat there, Secretary General, you reflected on why it matters, the urgency of our time. You just came back recently where you saw the ice sheets melting. Thank you for your leadership for early warning for all, because we needed that leadership. Your effort is what is being needed. Please tell us why this matters so much now more than ever.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues and friends. Before I begin, allow me to say a quick word about the announcement yesterday from several members of the oil and gas industry, as this is the first public occasion in which I can do it. The fossil fuel industry, the giant behind the climate crisis, is finally starting to wake up. But the promises made clearly fall short of what is required. The commitment on the elimination of methane by 2030 is a step in the right direction. But the announcement to achieve net zero by 2050 says nothing about eliminating emissions from fossil fuel consumption, the so-called Scope 3. Science is clear. We need to phase out fossil fuels within a time frame compatible with limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. In addition, yesterday's announcement provided no clarity on the pathway to reaching net zero by 2050, which is absolutely essential to ensure integrity. There must be no room for greenwashing. Dear friends, we are here today together to keep raising the bar on ambition and ensuring justice. In a world defined by escalating climate injustice, early warning systems are the most basic tool for saving lives and securing livelihoods. Yet too few people in the developing world have access to them. Half the world is still unprotected from natural hazards. Countries that are vulnerable to extreme weather, especially small island developing states and least developed countries and the entire African continent, should have the highest rates of protection, but they are well below the global average. As the world continues to break all the known climate records, every moment of delay costs lives. 2023 will be the warmest year on record. To meet the 1.5 degree limit of the Paris Agreement, greenhouse gas emissions must fall 45% by 2030 compared to 2010 levels. But under national plans that are currently known, they are set to increase by 9%. Delayed action means quite simply more deadly extreme weather events, more death, more destruction, less ability to recover. And those on the front line of the climate crisis will continue to pay the highest price. We must both cut carbon pollution at an accelerated pace and massively invest in protecting vulnerable people and communities from the impact of more frequent and severe climate-related events. Dear friends, the Early Warnings for All initiative is aiming to provide protection from hazardous weather, water or climate events by the end of 2027 as a proven and effective way to save lives and protect vulnerable communities. This is an ambitious goal, but it is achievable. To make a reality, we need all hands on deck, collaborating and cooperating in a way that has not been done before. I welcome the progress made over the past year. Greater coordination and collaboration among partners has achieved concrete results. I commend the political commitment and leadership of many governments in the first cohort of countries to advance the initiative. Maldives, Laos, and Ethiopia now have dedicated national action plans and coordination structures in place. Benin has strengthened communication to reach communities at greater risk. Fiji's flash flood warning has been expanded to benefit nearly 1 million people. And I'm encouraged by progress on finance, including new bilateral contributions and alignment with existing investments. All major multilateral development banks, the global climate funds, and the key financing mechanisms have coalesced around the Early Warnings for All initiative. These commitments are essential and invaluable. All these developments bring us closer to marking this ambitious goal a reality by 2027. But we still have a long way to go. In a world that is on a fast track to 3 degrees Celsius and where adaptation needs are huge and growing, climate vulnerability is bound to escalate. The estimated cost of this effort is just over $3 billion in total, a tiny fraction of the hundreds of billions made by the fossil fuel industry last year. I again call for a windfall tax on these profits, and for the money to be used to protect those suffering the worst impacts of the climate crisis. And I urge all countries to continue to be bold and ambitious and to double the speed and scale of support in 2024. You can be assured of my continued commitment. Excellencies, dear friends, many of you in this room are demonstrating exactly what I have envisioned for this initiative. Thank you for your contributions and collaboration. I thank Professor Tallens and Ms. Mitsutori for their leadership, alongside the International Telecommunication Union, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, and other key partners. And I look forward to another year of significant progress as we fast forward to meeting the goal of early warnings for all by 2027, and I thank you.
Ambitious but achievable. Thank you so much. And I'm aware, Secretary General Guterres, that you will have to leave shortly, but thank you for being with us. Now to the COP presidency, Her Excellency Mariam bint Mohammed Saeed Harib Al-Mahdi, I hope I pronounced your name very well, is the Minister of Climate Change and Environment for the UAE. Thank you for your leadership on convening this meeting. The world has met here in the desert, and it's amazing to be in your beautiful country. You have been very instrumental to the relief, recovery, and peace day here at COP28. Please tell us how you see the role of all this work that is being done on early warning systems. Over to you, Your Excellency.
Thank you so much. And I also want to welcome you all to COP28 and to the United Arab Emirates as well as to the first Relief, Recovery and Peace Day in the COP process. It is an honor to join you, Secretary General Guterres, and the early warnings for all partners for this moment of both progress check and new ambition. 1 year ago, I spoke to you in Sharm el-Sheikh, where this initiative was rightly welcomed as a breakthrough in leaving no one behind and preventing loss and damage. And today in Dubai, it is encouraging to see concrete steps towards implementation underway in the first 30 countries across 5 regions. Importantly, countries affected by fragility or conflict have been included in recognition of the highly marginal climate finance for adaptation and resilience they usually receive. As many of you know, we will today launch the COP28 Climate Relief, Recovery and Peace Declaration, which seeks to course correct on this blind spot. Many of you have already endorsed the declaration, and I congratulate you on already implementing it through this inclusive approach. I'm also very pleased to see early warnings for all's championship of anticipatory action, so that early warnings are linked to actual resource disbursement before a disaster strikes. And we know how important it is to rally global support to avoid such events that threaten lives and livelihoods, especially for small island developing states and least developed countries, where human mortality from floods, droughts, and storms have been 15 times higher than other regions during the past decade. Reports also tell us that nearly 70% of all climate-related disasters have occurred in the 46 poorest countries. We must do more, and we must do it faster. That is, of course, the guiding spirit of COP28. Just 1 hour ago, many partners have launched the Getting Ahead of Disasters Charter, which sets out a roadmap to mobilize pre-arranged financing that can maximize the predictive capacity offered by early warnings for all. Secretary General Guterres has often raised the simple truth: systems that alert people of impending storms, floods, or droughts are not a luxury for the few, but a cost-effective tool that saves lives, reduces economic losses, preserves livelihoods, and lessens the strain on an already stretched humanitarian system. In this year of the global stocktake, we have a clear prompt to rally around this opportunity and the 2027 targets. The UAE and co-presidency are committed to this work stream and are confident that we can arrive at COP29 with even more partners and resources. We are particularly keen to expand the private sector interface, and it's great to see so many of you here in the room putting more data and technology, including AI, to service. And I look forward to hearing about the experiences of 2023 and raising ambition for 2024. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for that leadership. We must move faster. As you rightly say, let's have resources before even disasters strike. Now we go to the Himalayas, the beautiful country of Nepal. The UN Secretary General recently visited this beautiful country, and he said, let us stop the madness of climate change as he visited the Everest region of this world. Because we know what the impact of climate change when those ice melts and impacts much further beyond the boundaries of Nepal. Now, congratulations to the government of Nepal because they have the first ever national adaptation plan. And in that, they also had their first early warning systems workshop. So I now invite His Excellency Pushpa Kumar Dahal Prachanda, who is the Prime Minister of Nepal. Please tell us more about your work.
Thank you very much. Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of the United Nations, Excellencies, distinguished delegates. I am pleased to address this side event both on behalf of the group of the least developed country as well as in my own national capacity. I thank the organizer for hosting this important event and providing me with this opportunity to draw global attention to reflect on the plight of LDC and the early warning for all. I deeply commend the Secretary General for spearheading the Early Warning for All initiative, which calls for every person to be protected by an early warning system by the end of 2027. I also appreciate the United Nations and other relevant agencies for their valuable work and support for this initiative. Excellencies, despite contributing nearly zero to global carbon emission, the LDCs are bearing the brunt of climate change. They are on the front line of this existential crisis with highly unpredictable weather patterns, increased events of natural disaster, and environmental crisis. Due to such disasters, they face huge challenges in life and livelihood, resulting in livelihood disruption, death, displacement, economic losses, and infrastructure damage. One UNCTAD report revealed that 69% of the worldwide deaths caused by climate-related disasters occurred in LDC in the last 5 years. LDCs support 19% of the total number of climate, weather, and water-related hazards that accounted for 29% of the globally affected population between 2017 to 2021. On the contrary, the LDCs lack resources in terms of adaptation, mitigation, and adequate early warning system to minimize the risk that impact the lives and livelihoods of our people. Over the years, human-induced climate change has caused extreme weather patterns, leading to substantial damage to the physical infrastructure and property and financial losses. Against this backdrop, I underline that an early warning system is critical to save precious lives, prevent disruption and displacement, and reduce economic losses and infrastructure damage. Doha Program of Action accords high priority for building resilience in LDC by improving their early warning capacity to respond to shocks and vulnerabilities. However, the LDCs are lacking resources and technological capacity. Therefore, I strongly urge the UN agencies and other development partners to scale up the resources for LDCs. Ladies and gentlemen, like other LDCs, Nepal is also highly vulnerable to disaster and climate change. We have been encountering recurrence of soil erosion, landslide, flash floods and droughts with increased intensity and impact. Likewise, Nepal's energy, agriculture, water resources, forestry, biodiversity and health sector are at high risk of climate change impact. Therefore, the implementation of early warning for all is critical in high-risk countries like Nepal, where the disasters are intensifying, expanding and getting more complex. Establishing a robust early warning system to address the risk of climate-induced disaster is the top priority of the government. I highly appreciate the UN Secretary General for including Nepal in the list of this initiative, which aligns with our national priorities. Nepal is committed to implementing early warning for all initiative of the Secretary General, which is instrumental in saving the lives of the most vulnerable people. Nepal's National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority has been working on the multi-hazard early warning system with a dedicated task group. The authority is preparing a roadmap for the effective implementation of early warning for all initiative in collaboration with UN agency and development partner. I also request the development partner to extend that maximum support and coordination for this initiative. Thank you for your kind attention.